Welcome to Mom's Life Made Simple, the podcast for moms who want to go from chaos to calm, from overwhelmed to organized, and to find balance between family responsibilities and personal growth. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen. Let's make mom life simple. Hello and welcome to the Mom's Life Made Simple podcast. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen. Today we are talking about 3 of the things that are keeping you overwhelmed and feeling stuck in your mom life. So often what we talk about here on the podcast and in my work are kind of these bigger things, lofty goals, things we want to work toward. And today we're going to kind of flip the script and talk about more of the practical things, because what I've found is that sometimes the things that you're dealing with on the day-to-day keep you so stuck in overwhelm, in not being able to think about the bigger picture. And so sometimes it can be really helpful to get very practical, very hands-on of what are the things that are keeping me here and not allowing me to go where I want to go. So let's dive in and talk about these 3 things. Number 1 is meal planning. I hear over and over from moms what a struggle it is to get dinner on the table every night. I think part of the reason is just because it happens every single night. You have to think of what to feed your family. You have to shop for what to feed them. You have to prepare it. And then you're dealing with a lot of personalities and tastes and maybe picky eaters. You've got a lot of things going on, as well as maybe financial constraints where you have a budget and you've got to figure out something good to feed your family without spending a fortune. And so there are a lot of issues that come up with meals. Probably the biggest one is what we're doing as moms, and that's the biggest answer as well, which is to create a system that works for you. So you know that every night people are going to be hungry in your household, and you're going to need to figure out a way to get them to eat. You need to figure out some kind of a system, some kind of a plan. Now, if you're a planner, it can really work to create a meal plan for a week, for 2 weeks, to figure out what is for dinner each night, to make sure that you have all of the ingredients for all of those meals, and then work from a list. That's kind of the way that I like to do dinner. I like to plan it, go to the store with a plan in mind, know what we're going to have each night of the week, get it on the table, and have a system in mind so that I know early in the day what we're going to have for dinner that night. But for you, if that works for you, then there are some definite tools that you can use that will help make that simpler. Or you might be the kind of person who doesn't even think about dinner until it's 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, and then you all of a sudden realize, oh shoot, I've got to figure out dinner tonight. And so maybe you want to realize that about yourself and make a plan that works for you. And so what that could look like for someone who is kind of a last minute, you can pre-plan to be a last minute dinner maker. So what I mean by that is you can stock your pantry with foods that come together really quickly. Pre-made sauces or things that come from a can that you kind of throw together, things that are easy or simple or just take a little less prep work. However, what they do take is having ideas. And so maybe for you, you have a list of ideas of what you're going to keep in your pantry. Like, okay, these 10 items in my pantry mean that we can have these 5 different meals. Something like that is going to help you on those nights when you just don't know what's for dinner. Additionally, you can, every time you do cook something, you can freeze some of it or make batch cook meals on the weekends or however you do it so that you have meals ready to go and dinner becomes not so stressful at 5 o'clock trying to figure out what to eat, because all you have to do is get out the food that you've already made. So if you work with your personality and your tendency, That's going to be a lot easier than trying to use a system that doesn't work with who you are. So recognize what's going on in your life, in your family, what season you're in, and really plan accordingly and create a system that works for you. So that's number one, meal planning. Number two is laundry. So laundry is definitely one of those things that keeps us feeling overwhelmed because it is relentless. Every single day, your family is wearing clothes, getting them dirty, getting towels dirty. You're constantly needing to do laundry. And I don't think there's such a thing as ever being fully caught up on the laundry. Another problem that comes up with laundry is that there's just too much of it. The more clothes and linens you and your kids have, the more laundry you're going to be responsible for, and the more time you're going to spend washing and drying and folding and putting away and all of those pieces of laundry. So, the other problem that I want to highlight here with laundry is that sometimes this is an area as moms where we do it all ourselves, where we think, I'm the mom, so the laundry is my job. And so this is something else that leaves us feeling very overwhelmed because we take on so much of that job on ourselves. So there are a couple solutions and ways to get out of the overwhelm of laundry. So the first one is to reduce what you have, to have less. You've heard me say this quote before, be the ruthless editor of your own life. That means really get rid of the clothes that don't make sense for you or your family to have. If they're too small, if they have holes, if your kids are like my kids and they don't like something and instead of getting rid of it, they just put it back in their dirty clothes basket, recognize that and get rid of it. Take the time to edit out your kids' clothes. What I have found with my own kids is if there's too much in their drawer, then they dig through it, putting some of it on the floor. Then when they clean their room, it goes straight from the floor into their laundry basket. And I have found myself washing clean clothes. I am not a fan of that. So what helps with that is having less in their drawer in the first place. How many clothes do they actually need? And what's the amount of clothes that will allow for an easier laundry life for you, an easier laundry system? Editing that down is actually going to help you in a lot of ways. So the second thing is to delegate. To do less of it yourself. You don't have to do all of the laundry by yourself. And, as soon as your kids are big enough to hit the buttons on the washing machine and the dryer, then I think they're old enough to do laundry. Now, if they're not that big, for example, I have a 7-year-old and he can't quite reach those buttons, but he is big enough to bring his laundry downstairs so that I can wash it. And he's also big enough after his clothes are clean to put them in the drawers. And so even with a younger kid, they can help with pieces of the laundry. So there are parts that you can delegate and you don't have to do it all by yourself. Finally, the thing that I want to emphasize here with laundry is finding simple habits. What works for you? What kind of habits do you need around laundry? Do you like to do your laundry all at once? Like have a laundry day where Saturday you just do all the laundry for the whole household and then you don't think about laundry again for the next week? Or would it be easier for you to have a daily habit where you're putting in a load of wash every day, changing it over at a certain time, and continuing that process throughout the day? Find a system that works for you instead of trying to play catch up and waiting until the last minute when all the clothes are dirty and all of a sudden you need to be somewhere and you have absolutely nothing to wear. A system is going to keep you from that place of overwhelm and, oh no, I didn't do what I need to do. And instead, it's going to get done on autopilot and automatically. Number 3 is cleaning. Your cleaning habits need to match their mess habits. So however often your family is making a mess, in a certain area, that's how often you need to have a cleaning habit in that area. If that is not as often, you can get by with cleaning a little less. But if your family are professional mess makers, you need to have better and more frequent habits of keeping things clean. The other thing that I would emphasize here is to have your own version of clean enough. What is clean enough for you? Where's the level where you can feel good in your house, where you feel like, okay, this is clean enough. I feel happy and satisfied with this level of clean. And it might not be ready for an Instagram picture. I'm just going to say that. It might not look like someone else's version of clean. I know that's true for me. It's not exactly, what I would want if a photographer was coming over. And yet, on the flip side, it's clean enough for us to be comfortable and happy in our house. It's clean enough for me not to be embarrassed if someone comes over. And it's just that right level of lived in. So what is it for you? What is your level of clean enough? It's really important to figure that out so that you can relax. You can look around your house and say, you know what? There's some books out, maybe some Pokemon cards on the ottoman, and that's okay. For me, that's clean enough because the floor has been swept, the counters have been wiped down. This is a clean enough house, and I'm happy here, and my kids are happy here, and they're able to play, and they're able to have friends over without being embarrassed, and we have this happy medium of clean enough. Now, in order to get there, how do you get there? Well, you need systems. Like I said earlier, your cleaning habits have to match their mess habits. So you need weekly cleaning habits. You need daily cleaning habits. And sometimes you even need hourly cleaning habits. You need to be very clear about when and how often you need to do which tasks. As well as the other question that you need to ponder here and set parameters for is, what will you let slide? What's okay with you if it gets a little messy? And what won't you let slide? For me, the kitchen, when the kitchen is the temperature, it's the temperature gauge. That's what I'm trying to say. How clean the kitchen is how clean the house feels to me. So if the dishes are loaded in the dishwasher and everything's wiped down, even if there are some toys and clutter out in the family room or books out on the dining room table, I'm okay with that. If the kitchen and the kitchen table is very clean. When the kitchen is a mess, to me, the house feels a mess. And so that's what I've determined for me. Okay, this area feels clean. I feel good in my clean house. This is clean enough. So these three things, when you simplify your meal planning, your laundry, and your cleaning habits, these are very kind of not fun, right? These are not the fun parts of motherhood, but they're things that we have to deal with. When you've got kids in the household, these are things that you're dealing with on a regular basis. And they're things that tend to overwhelm us because they aren't fun. And so we often put them off and they pile up on us. If we can instead create systems and habits that keep us on top of them in a way that works for us, in a way that works with your personality, with the way that you want to raise your family, with the kind of house that you want to have, you will find yourself getting out of those feelings of overwhelm and able to really rise above those feelings of stuckness and figure out what you want to do with your day, what you want to do with your life, instead of feeling like all of your time is spent on meal prep, laundry, and cleaning. So these are three of the tools in the Simplify Toolbox. The Simplify Toolbox walks through 7 tools that help you to really simplify home and family. It's all about creating systems that work so that you can get those things done in your house the way that you need to, so you can go out and do what you're meant to do. If these are the things that you're struggling with in your mom life, go and check that out. You can get there from chanelnielsen.com/ funnel/simplify-toolbox. If that felt like a lot, just scroll down wherever you're watching this. There will be a link. You can click on that link or get on my email list. If you get on my email list, you will be able to get all of the details there, and I'll keep you up to date on everything. Thanks for listening to Mom's Life Made Simple. Need some help making your mom life simple? I offer group coaching programs using my 4-step method called the Mom's Method. This is a process of manifestation, organization, mobilization, and simplification that will give you the balance, progress, and joy you're looking for. Visit ChanelNielsen.com or go to bit.ly/momlifebook to get your copy of my brand new book, Stop Putting Yourself Last. I love to hear from you, so reach out with your questions, your feedback, and let me know how I can help make your mom life simple.